Remember, he's trying to raise 1 trillion more from us than he's currently raising. So it's going to hurt us. It's supposed to hurt us. And he's doing so because he told the IMF, because I want to get to the second question. He told the IMF that Kenya is doing so well, we are going to grow by 6.1 next year. We are at 4.8, we are going to go to 6.1. So they've said, okay, if that's the case, why is your taxation to GDP so low? It is at 14%, why don't you raise it? If you're growing 6.1% growth rate, GDP, you should actually be at 25. And they compromised at 17, 18% of our revenue, GDP going to tax. So we are the ones who put the template. We are the ones, because IMF was telling us, it looks like you cannot pay your debts. Why don't you declare default? And he chose this option. So understand where we are. It's not IMF that dictates. We are the ones who go and borrow. We are the ones who chart our path. We are the ones who tell them stories about how the things we are doing are working wonders in our lives, loan us more. We are the ones. And when we can't pay, they come and they tell us, now you can't pay. What is the solution? Okay? So it's not them dictating. Now, Naisola, you asked, what are we going to do with this investigation? Yeah? I said one of the things that are very fortunate is that we have Okiom Tata Senate, who has said, I'm going to court. With these facts, I'm going to court. And I'm going to have the Constitutional Court of this country declare this odious debt. That's one. The other is the power you all have. You all have. We can go and refuse. We have an opportunity with the public debt debate coming to Parliament. They want petitions in by the 14th. But in another few weeks, people will be invited, the same way people are invited for the finance bill. And we can petition Parliament to commit that it is not going to pay any debt that it did not pass. You know, it is them. They didn't pass it, why are they paying? And if they take that resolution, it will be cut off from the budget of Kenya. Please understand that. So you have power even here to tell your representatives, and we can go en masse and ensure that they do so, because they cannot justify paying something they did not approve, correct? The third is that we say they do not represent us anymore. And I want you to look at something called public choice theory. Public choice theories is when now we take back power in our hands, and it is embedded in the Constitution of Kenya. That's now another discussion. So you try others first. That now is completely revolutionary. But it is called public choice theory. Please read about it. Now, I have two questions here. I hope I've answered your question. I have two questions here. One from Opio Evans, who asked, at what point will our government be clear to Kenyans on the amount of money we have? On the amount of money we have. Was that the question? On the amount of money we have? Well, I think we are negative, not positive. Whichever way you turn it. Yeah? And whether the government will be clear, they are clear in our books if we just bother reading. You know, the Mzungu says, it's important you know this, that if you want to hide something from an African, put it in a book. We don't read. The second question is from Honorable Ken. How did you come up with your research? Right, this one. As I said, we were running for the office of president, and we did our homework about the lay of the land. So there's very little we don't understand about Kenya. Current, up to date. A lot we know historical. Many of you don't even know the Mzungu when he came here. Many of you don't even know who gave you your tribal numbers, your names. Who named the Luo the Luo? Who named the Giriama the Giriama? Who? Who told us we are Bantu and we are Nilotes and we are Kushites? Who named us? The white man. Why? Because when you want to conquer people, you must brand them. How are they? So they came and they said, what is the economic activity? Huh? This is how we are going to rule them. And that's another story we'll come to. Now, we got a very good man. He had been an auditor for government for 41 years. A man called Bernard Muchero. He's a forensic auditor. He's the one who investigated the mafia house scandal wakati wa COVID. And Bernard, we commissioned him with 2 people, one also another fraud investigator, younger, and a lawyer. And we said, just go and look at the law and where our debt is anchored. And all they did was go through the appropriations. The books are published every year. The account in Central Bank is even online. It shows you what we owe, but people don't read. And they counted the numbers. And after about 3 months, we had all the information. So I hope that answers this question. Right. Now, is there any more? One last round. One last round. People are hungry. I can see energy levels. Oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Yes.
My name is Wilson Obiero, the Speaker.
Did you say Wilson?
Wilson Obiero.
Yes.
And I'm the Speaker, Bunge la Mwananchi, Jacaranda Grounds.
Mpigia makofi.
This is my question, His Excellency. To the people at the bottom of the pyramid. We are the majority at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yes.
And here is the Giminomics.
Yes.
Which is an economic model.
Yes.
Or an economic understanding.
Yes.
What are maybe the approaches that you are likely to use to make sure this information successfully cascades or percolates to the common Mwananchi who is down there? Because these are the people who are highly affected. And these are the people who are highly suppressed. Like today, I can give you an example in Bunge la Mwananchi. We are fighting finance bill. We are being arrested by police officers. And Honorable Wakili is here. The other day we experienced 12 people who were arrested and brought to the city court at the Nairobi County, charged with unnecessary issues that we could not understand. Here you want to have a Giminomics, which we want to propel. Where is our security as the people at the pyramid? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good question. Give him a clap.
Comrades Power, I'm AWOCino, and I'm also a member of Bunge la Mwananchi Jacaranda.
Sorry, I didn't hear your name.
AWOCino.
Sorry?
AWO.
AWO. Awo.
Like so.
Okay.
The W is for William, maybe that's why it's hidden.
Ah.
So
Sama.
I've known you over the years as a business mogul. And my problem could be with the business moguls that we have in Kenya. Are they the ones killing us? Because we are talking of 1.9 trillion GDP for Kenya, which is, or could be Google's turnover. Yeah, so you can imagine how bad the situation is. And according to my analysis, we are actually milking 2 cows instead of 8 cows. And these 2 cows that we are milking are to be found in central Kenya and Rift Valley region in terms of exports. So how do we earn foreign exchange with only 2 regions instead of 8 regions? For example, Bungoma, pan paper, industry closed, so many years ago. Siaya, the cotton industry down, and the whole textile industry, speaking of Rivertex, Mountex, Kikomi, and so many others that would have cropped up by now. Kisumu, fish industry, farmers are finding fish already in the market from China. Kakamega, sugar, and the list goes on. We are getting sugar from Brazil. So how do we earn foreign exchange? How do we get enough money in our pockets so that we can comfortably pay these taxes that Nabi Ruto is talking about? So, as a business mogul, you must have brushed shoulders with other business moguls, and we are calling them unscrupulous business people who are composed of ex-government officials who make sure that that they kill our local industries by importing products that we can produce in this country, including pilipili, including ginger. What's your take on it? What can you tell us about them?
Very good question. Give him a clap. No, we want a lady. Najua sasa you must be gender.
Hello, His Excellency, I am Nyambura Kanyi from Udhaya. My question is from now the perspective of an activist. I'm as someone who is constantly being put in a position to speak that truth to power. And from where we stand, we are living with a government that doesn't necessarily appreciate this kind of conversation. So how then will we be able to, from what we have picked today, from all the lessons that we have gained from this forum today, be able to pass on that message to the majority of the voters, the common Wananchi, to our advantage, so that at the end of the day, we are at a win-win situation with having to resort to confrontation or maybe not. And also, how you brought up a thought of us saying enough is enough. What are the constitutional policies that exist that give us that power to say enough is enough? Because there's like collecting signatures for maybe the legislators who we feel we are done with, but how many people know about that? I feel like the gap between that revolution and what we have today is knowledge, but what is our approach to dispersing that knowledge?
Very good. Thank you, Nyambura. Now, I'll start with that because your question and that of Wilson are similar, cascading down. Now, then, oh, you want one more? Okay. Naona ni kama umekasirika, just relax.
Thank you very much. Forward the spirit of comradeship, forward. Forward the spirit of genomics, forward. Okay, thank you so much, His Excellency. My name is Darren Hart. Darren Hart is my
Darren
name.
Hart. Very good.
I'm a 50-year civil engineering student at the University of Nairobi. And I'm also the pioneer brain behind Tugutuke movement, if you've heard about it. And the moment you've been speaking here, I was wondering how I've written 15 letters and brought to your office quarter house, asking for appointment with you to discuss on how all the youths in the country can vote in one basket.
Pigia makofi huyu jamaa. Very good initiative.
Our country, Kenya, demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind and will, a predominance of courage over timidity.
Yes.
The youth have got energy, brains, imaginations and talents that can solve our problems as a country. But the perception created in the society today is that the youth are not needed, when the youth are the solutions to our country. His Excellency, as the young people, we have an obligation to change the status quo. As the young people, we have an obligation to always challenge and put issues on the table and shape the discourse. It's us who must determine the line of march in the parliament. It's us who must determine what is being deliberated in the parliament. But as young people, if we are going to allow ourselves to fear the government, we will be killing the future of this generation. And so, as young people, we want to stand upon everybody else in the country, even if it will take a bullet, but one day, one time, we will deliberate our continent. Thank you very much. But I hope you consider my appointment to discuss with you. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Zion has spoken very well. And I think in large part, you've helped me answer something that I wanted to answer to. Order. I wanted to answer Nyambura and Wilson's question, and in large part you have helped me, Darren. You see, the leadership that works is consultative leadership, not dictatorship. So you're asking me how we cascade this down. Is there anybody who knows the ground more than you guys? Don't you know it more than me? Don't you live it more than me? So why don't we create a consultative forum? And maybe my check and balance will be, hey, no, that way we'll encounter this and this problem, because maybe I have a bit more experience than you. But you know the ground currently more than I. We have chosen the initial approach is to talk to minds that can digest this. Because if I go and talk to Mama Mboga today, I start telling her Denny and figures, she will get very lost. But you guys understand it. So tell us how we make them understand it is the reason of their pain. They do already. They understand Denny as pain, but they're not quite understanding how it's connecting with the price amount of their Mboga. So let us develop a consultative forum. We have time. But I'll tell you the biggest lesson that's going to come. What I'm telling you about defaulting is coming. So if they don't feel it now, they are going to feel it then. And they are going to ask themselves, hii kitu inaitwa deni ni nini? Our life has changed all of a sudden. So let us start educating them now. Create a forum amongst you. You're a good organization with top brains, even activists at a bunge. And you understand how to disseminate the message to Mama Mboga in the simplest manner. You can see people don't want finance bill just because it is viewed as pain. And even where the government is trying to throw a carrot called housing, people are saying we already have a house. It may be the quality of house, but we don't need your house if it's going to cause us more pain. Now, how do we simplify this message? I think it's a challenge I would like to throw back to you. Nyambura, to Wilson, and there is another young man who called me President akiwa huku juu anataka direction ya vita. Okay? Now, then there is a question from Awo. Anasema mimi ni business mogul. My friend, don't you want to also be? Don't you want to be? Yes. So if you want to be, you don't say business moguls are bad. When you are aspiring for something, you don't say they are bad. Because even you, when you get there, you'll be called bad. Okay? So what happens? Yes. Now, I'm a business mogul, maybe, if you want to term it that way. And I like to say, from your mouth to God's ears. Now, there are others who are thieves. Those are not business moguls. It's like saying somebody who does drugs is a businessman. That's not a businessman. That's a criminal. Okay? Those are criminals. Don't put them as moguls. Right? We've added value in the things that we have done, not taken away value. All right? Because if you're a business mogul, the first thing you think about is soko. Soko. So you want people with money in their pockets because sasa mumekuwa soko, mtakuwa soko. When I take it all, you have nothing for me tomorrow. So you want more and more people with money. You want richer and richer people because it expands the reach of your product. Whatever your product is, an idea, a skill, something I'm manufacturing. And this is where we must be as a country, which means that we want money in Mama Mboga's pocket. but not money through a government. Money with government getting out of our life because it is fingering us. It is fingering us with taxes. It is fingering us with debt. It is coming with regulations. And when we are questioning, we are being hounded, we are being arrested, we are being oppressed. No. This must be a very joyous thing. Tafuta M-Pesa must be joyous, where everybody is happy. Everybody is striving and there's glee in people's eyes. Not a bad thing. Okay? It's like when you have capacity to buy a new shirt. So you feel very good when you get it. Yes, that's what this is about. Okay? So we are of that model. And I like something you have said very well. Why is this model of foreign exchange anchored in Rift Valley and in central Kenya? Where did the colonialists come? And what did he dominate? He came to central Kenya and said, these highlands near Mount Kenya, the rain, the soil, can grow coffee and tea. Then he went to the white highlands of the Rift Valley, where the Kalenjin are. And he made pastoralists, farmers, got them into tea, because that's where his cash crop of tea was coming from. It's a very valid question. Why have we stuck to those traditional areas? It's because the mentality has been going on for 60 years, and that's what we're saying must change. We have a market of 1 billion Africans. You know, you go to Nigeria today, and they'll tell you, these potatoes we have here, we are importing from Peru. The milk we have comes from the Netherlands. A country of 240 million people won't even take a manufactured good like butter or yogurt or a spare part from Kenya. It's banned. You understand? We don't even need the mzungu. Our flowers, everything you can think of, the value addition on the things we can do here are phenomenal just for our own market called Africa. But nobody is telling you this. That's the model we are seeking to change. Because it must not be government driven, it is us driven. Today you have information in your hand, your phone. All you want is a government that helps you open up a market. So we want to be lobbying to government, not put taxes on us. But why is Nigeria stopping us from selling our things to 240 million people? Open up that barrier. That's what you want a government to do, a president to do. And the rest you can do. And that is our model. So take the lessons of the last 60 years and say now what this model hasn't worked. Let us change the model. And that's what supply side economics is, where we drive the direction. You talked about cashew nuts, for example. You know, macadamia nuts today are selling, a farmer is getting about 40 shillings a kilo. Do you know out there what it is going for? 2,800 shillings. And they are being told there is an oversupply. So don't, you know, you take it or leave it. 2,800 shillings. Who is making this money? A lot of it are those moguls here, through laws. You had the coffee conference the other day. A farmer of coffee here, and I'm a farmer, earns 70 shillings a kilo this year. Do you know what it goes out there for? 1,800 shillings, 11 euro. So who is making this money in between? And one tree of coffee, and coffee can be planted anywhere, not only Mount Kenya region, anywhere. One tree of coffee produces a minimum of 3 kilos. Farmers here should be making millions. But you have a group here who have decided they are the millers, they're the marketeers, and they're the buyers. And they've been here for 40 years. Who has been entrenching them here? Now what in Wazungu? 2 Germans companies and 1 Swiss company. And it has been impossible to remove them. until the Coffee Reform Act, which came in, and even then, the previous government refused to implement it. So who keeps disenfranchising us? I think I've answered your question. Don't look at your moguls here. Those who are partners, we don't want. We'll cut them off as cartels. Those who are thieves are thieves. Don't say they're moguls. All right? And we must start saying, actually, this model can change. That is supply-side economics. Have I answered your question? Asanteni sana. Thank you all very, very much. Oh, one more. Njaa iko mingi. One more, just one more. Amelia sana huyu. He's been standing. Volume. It's not working. Just one more. Najua, we must accept some little democracy.
Jimmy, mine is just to thank.
What's your name, my brother? Fidel.
I came through invitation of Tabitha, and mine is just to encourage the young people. You see, we've met leaders who just come for political opportunities. I've listened to him. I came, sat down, the secretariat with Tabi. I came under invitation. I find it so pure, so listeners, than quick to ask questions. Jimmy is not any other ordinary person. He's been into government. What he knows, we don't know. He has a lot of keys that if you just listen and tap.
All the way from Mombasa.
Down.
There's somebody from Mombasa, and he wants just to say a word. All the way from Mombasa.
Tumekubali? Sawa.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes. What's your name, Dugu? Carry on. What's your name?
I'm Elvis Otieno,
Karibu Elvis.
Alice Beast. I just traveled yesterday night because of this from Mombasa.
Karibu.
So, the reason I traveled because I'm in the Yala Secretariat, on the side of Mombasa. I'm in charge of all county coordinators from Yala. We traveled from coast, 3 of us, from Taita Taveta, we are from Kilifi, but we had one concern. We have listened about your speech. We have realized we just perish because of lack of knowledge. I think the Nairobi region have been satisfied. In Mombasa, the coastarians, 80% don't even know the existence of financial bill. We would wish to request you in the course of next week, if your schedule allows, with our chair lady, you make it the search forum to the coast.
We will come to the coast. Tabitha, you organize. Asante sana. I think there is one lady here. Najua, we have not been gender sensitive. If 2 men talk, let's agree one lady must also speak. See, that is a third. Did you want to speak? Speak.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Amy from Kilifi.